I've just come back from the spa, and in the spa, I like to clear my head and think about things. And I think the video that I made yesterday with those Christians that weren't that bad, they were just kind of like moaning a bit. But yeah, I was kind of thinking about there's actually a lot more things that I could say that I didn't say because I didn't really think about it. But I'm thinking about it now, and or I did think about it in the spa, and they were complaining, they were saying that a lot of people these days are getting divorced, but couples that go to the church regularly, have a much healthier relationship, and there are far less divorces in the church. They were saying that like it was a good thing. So, but basically by encouraging people to go to the church and say why, because you'll have a healthier, stronger relationship, and it's just like, I think there is truth to it, but it's not in the way that they would describe it. I think people who go to church are kind of stupid people who don't have a sense of real love or connection, because there's some really terrible things in the Bible. God does some terrible things to his people, and if you aren't able to recognize that the God of the Bible does not love his people, then it means you don't know what love is. And if you're in a relationship that you don't know what love is, you're far less likely to divorce from it. You're far less likely to see problems in it. If you see about, God the Father sacrificed his son. So if you're dating a partner that wants to beat your child, you'd probably see less reason to leave that person because they're kind of just copying God. So, he was saying that it's a good way. It's a good thing that people aren't divorcing, and it is a good thing not to divorce. But at the same time, if the reason why people get divorces is because they marry people that turn out to be a lot worse or horrible than what they originally thought, and if they're miserable in their marriage, then getting a divorce is far better. If I take my parents for an example, they are kind of heartless. They have no love or motion towards each other. I can't imagine them ever getting a divorce. But if they did get a divorce, I would actually see it as a good thing, because they're not right for each other. They only ever argue. They make each other miserable. There's no love. There's no compliments. There's no hugs or kisses. They don't share a same bed. It's a completely dead marriage. And I think the only reason why they're not getting a divorce is because they're stupid, and people who go and believe in religion are people who are stupid, because there's so many questions that you can ask in the Bible about, why this, why that, and they don't ask it because it's ignorance and it's stupidity. And they were saying that it's best to be religious because then you don't get a divorce. But the problem isn't divorcing. The problem is people and what happens in marriages. If someone wants to get a divorce because their partner's beating them up, it's a good thing. You should be encouraging, them to get a divorce, and them kind of just saying, divorce is bad overall. We need to try and stop divorces. It's going back to just accepting that everything is more fine than it actually is. And there isn't anything wrong with getting a divorce. Children shouldn't be bullied if their parents are divorced, and there was a time where this would happen. But this isn't because that divorce is bad. There's nothing wrong with divorce. If divorce is what's best for the couple and what's best for the family unit, what's best for the people, because they can find people that they actually like or absolutely get on better with, or if they both develop into two different people as time goes on. It's sad that the children don't grow up with. It's nice for a child to have parents that are together. It's nice to look at your family and think it worked for them and it can work for me. But the truth is, it's people change, and people are far more evolved, and because we are far more evolved, we can also evolve into different directions. And I think smart people do have different tastes from their partner. Now, it might be a good time for you to have kids and be together, but 10 years later, you might not be suitable for each other. And to just dismiss it as being like, oh, they got a divorce, they failed, they're not religious, that's the reason why they got a divorce. Just to say that, and to just say that it's a bad thing is completely disrespectful to the fact that actually maybe a divorce was actually best for them. Maybe getting together, having kids, being a family unit for 10 years and then realizing that it's not worked out. Maybe that is what's best for them. And these Christians were kind of judging it, thinking that they had the right to judge it, thinking that this has obviously happened because they're not religious, they've fallen away from the church and they're getting divorced. I think it's a really wrong way to look at things. And it's also another way. The other thing that they were talking about was kids come out of school these days and have no idea which direction to go in. You know, that's actually a good thing. You know, if you think about the past, you know, if your family, if your father or mother was a blacksmith or a beekeeper or a shipbuilder, you know, the children would go into the same line of direction as their parents, because that was the only choice that they had. And now people come out of schools and they don't know which direction to go in, but it's more because they have loads of different skills. They practice this, they practice building, or you know they have an interest in this. They've gone to school. They've learnt a variety of different things, and now they have a variety of different options. You know, there's two ways of looking at that. You can say, oh, people are coming out of school and they don't know which direction to turn, you know, as it's a bad thing. Or you can say, you know, they're coming out of school, they don't know which direction to go because they have so many options now. And, you know, if you back in the past, they didn't have these options. People came out of school knowing that they're going to do whatever their family is doing because that's the only option that they had. So, you know, they're taking things and assuming that it's a bad thing, you know, oh, there's so many more divorces now, it's a bad thing. And I was like, well, yeah, but if all these relationships are with partners that beat them up, or if they're with partners that they just don't love, or they thought they loved and then they grew out of it, and it's, you know, it's not nice for a child to be have parents that are just arguing and fighting, and you know, if they're religious, they probably would be more tempted to stay together. But just because they're staying together, that doesn't mean it's a good thing. That doesn't mean it's best for the kids. And so I feel like they were, that's something I should have added to the video, that they were looking at things in the wrong direction, you know. And it's not about, they were trying to focus on the changes and how things are different, and then just assuming that it's all wrong, and it's not. It's good that kids come out of school not knowing which direction they should go in, because they have so many options now. Before they didn't have that many options. Now they do have options, so they have choice, and then they put CVs out and see what offers come through, and you know that's a good thing that they have choice according to what job opportunities they get. And it's, you know, if relationships are not working, and if partners are mistreating their other partner, you know, divorce is a good thing because it stops people from being trapped. You know, what would you rather there be, you know, 10 divorces a year and then a million people miserable in their marriage, or a million divorces a year and a million more people happy? So I feel like they were looking at it in the wrong way. And I think they had a discussion about money as well. I can't remember what they said about money. I think money was it was about making money and building up the kingdom. And just like, yeah, why would building up the kingdom involve giving money to the church? I mean, giving money to the church is just giving money to liars and people who think they know the truth and want to promote the truth and want to tell you lies, such as like, oh, you have to stay into the church because otherwise you're going to get a divorce. And divorces are really bad things. You know, there's so less divorces in people who go to church. It's like, yeah, that's just because there's more idiots in the church. That's the main reason why there's you know, there's less. And also, you know, if you want to get a divorce and your preacher is telling you that it's a sin to get a divorce, you're going to be more tempted to stay in that relationship. But if you're in a relationship that you're not happy in, then a preacher telling you that you shouldn't get a divorce is actually just going to make your life miserable and keep you trapped in something you don't want to be in. So you shouldn't see divorce as being a bad thing. You should see people getting a divorce and being happier, as, you know, if that's what makes them happier, then that the divorce is a good thing. And yeah, I found another baby as well. I'm very good. I should be a professional fry catcher. Found another baby.